Team WE did have that fast game. I'm really curious to see what type of draft phase we get here.
I wonder if they're going back to protecting, expect, and the pick ban, because that's what they did against SKT when they played teams with a similar style where not too much goes to the top side and both teams like to play bot heavy. Then usually they protect, expect a little bit and set up for a good matchup, but it doesn't seem like they're actually doing that this game.
Yeah, and what's interesting as well, if I look over at Team WE, is they played so well around Mystic and Ben throughout the regular season and hardly ever played through 957. Yet here, when they played through 957, he goes off on Kled, they win. When they abandon him, he's 100% of his team's deaths 25 minutes into the game.
This is actually super interesting. Very fast pick and ban here. Double jungles ban out. I wonder if they go for first pick Graves, but then they may break the tradition that is first pick Lulu.
We'll have to see what WE's final ban is here. Kind of interesting so far. Elise, Lee Sin, Nami on the G2 side. WE, Ivern, expected, Cannon, and one more to come. This is a very important game for these two teams as well. It's important to remember. These two teams are relatively close in skill based on what we've seen already, so a win here kind of puts you up above a team that's close to you. And there's Karma. There's Lulu.
Yeah, because of the Karma ban, they have to pick Lulu and they lose the Graves, and they likely end up playing the Kazakhs into Graves matchup then.
Yeah, you have to be so adaptive with that final ban if you're Team WE, because you're not coming into this one and trying to whiteboard out the pick ban phase and say, oh yeah, I think G2's gonna ban 2 random junglers and Nami. No, but because of that reaction. The other option though, if they don't ban any of the 3 is, yeah, G2 can get the mid laner Graves, but then WE could have had Karma and Lulu. I actually would have preferred that, or getting one of the 2 shielders as well as Graves. So I actually don't agree with that Karma ban, since WE is the type of team that has such a good Karma mid playstyle. But that's what they've gone and done, and they do jungle AD with their first 2 picks if they lock in that Ashe.
Yeah, Ashe is one of the stronger picks here for Mystics. Sven plays a champion fine, but his arrows were not kind of hitting their mark, so I don't think they mind too much that it's stolen away here.
We'll see what happens on the G2 side. Strong start for WE on the drop, but they did have to give away a Lulu for the trouble. And I think, again, so a lot of... I think Phase 1 champions getting banned out is kind of the interesting thing here. Yeah, and there's actually Kog'Maw, yeah, locked in for G2.
So it has to be Kog'Maw plus jungle here, otherwise Trick is going to get pitched even more. Or they must have a niche pick somewhere that they do not expect their opposition. This Rumble could technically be a flex though.
Yeah, G2 definitely switching it up here. The reason I like the Kog'Maw in this situation is it is a hyper carry. We're expecting this game to go fairly late, and also look at the supports that are banned.
Yeah.
He's not laning against a Nami or a Karma in the other side of the matchup, so the Kog can actually do pretty well in lane with the Lulu, I think.
Yeah, and also if you're not playing against a really prominent hard carry top laner, you know, 957 isn't rated as high in the aggression department as, for example, Huni, then you can get the Shen through the laning phase as well, and you can center everything again around Sven. And it's always a joy to watch G2 Esports, or just any team that Sven is on, play protect as Sven comps.
And I like this a lot. I like the champ for that reason. They're saying, Trick, we trust you. Even if you get a few more bans thrown at you, we're confident you can play maybe even a surprise pick here. But again, making sure they play to their strength, but the bans that keep coming. Kled was a pick for WE. They knew they had to take it now, but now the jungle bans start. There's Rengar and Zyra on the opposite side for G2.
Yeah, G2 is laning support dominance in the bottom lane, maybe even the Malzahar. They get rid of next. This has to be Kazakhs right here on the other side.
Yeah, because that gets rid of, we've essentially moved down, that's 5 jungle bans as well as a jungle pick, so you're down to your 7th jungler on your tier list. Maybe Trick has something like Warwick?
He has played Rumble and 1 game of Warwick as well, I do believe. He can definitely play that.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Thresh ban actually instead of something like the Malzahar. Let's see if WE maybe want to take some sort of support here. Perhaps could flex this Lulu as well, so WE could lose another support, but it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, Malzahar goes down in value because you're already going to build a QSS for the Ashe anyways, and you have the defensive support. So in that sense, Thresh gives you more variance in kind of gameplay, flash play, you know, Mad Life performances on Hook, you know, Faker Smurfs on support. That's what you want to avoid with the Thresh. Give him a standard pick that is at least predictable.
Oh, they already locked it in! It's Nunu! I thought they were joking. Well, there's the Lulu, there's LeBlanc. Draft done for G2.
Yeah, and they have the LeBlanc as a split push threat, so they're not all about the centerfold of the Kog'Maw, but I love the Nunu coming in this situation.
Mr. Nunu. All right, go ahead, Jack. Why do you like Nunu?
He's good. Really, this is the patch with the changes to his passive. So if you're able to get enough auto attacks in, you do get essentially a rank 2 ult at level 6, but more so, he is a safe jungler who can control a lot of the game. It's a little tricky against Graves because Graves clears so quickly, but as far as just being able to protect the Kog'Maw, it's perfect.
Yeah, super fascinating, this new Nunu pick. We also have to look at the reaction here, though, into this LeBlanc. Kassadin has seen a couple quality of life. changed it, I think, as well as small buffs on the ultimate, I believe it was. So he definitely is slowly getting buffed up every patch until he hits broken status again.
It was a cooldown reduction on his Force Pulse, and also his W now follows people past Flash if he's already started the auto attack animation, or even a LeBlanc going back from a distortion or something, it will hit. So I think Kassadin's a very strong pick into LeBlanc. We were so distracted by the Nunu, we kind of missed out on that nice counter pick down the stretch, because WE very much trying to split up and flank to get onto the Kog'Maw, whereas G2 want to keep this map small.
But look at the range in team fights. This is a very short range composition, I feel, on so a lot of these carries here. Kassadin and Kled, if Sven can escape the initial burst of engage, he can orb walk his way out of these fights with the protection and single-handedly kite his way out towards victory. However, there is so much hard engage too. Kled going in from one side, Kassadin from the other side, maybe an Ash Arrow to slow or Flash Malzahar. If Sven dies, a lot of the damage goes down with him.
Yeah, just a lot of potential here in WE. They are going to have to play, I think, a bit more aggressive in this situation. We talk about 20% of their games where Condi just goes off and the team can follow. They're going to need to dig back into that 20% if they're going to try and tech on what is a terrifying scaling comp.
Yeah, and I loved this draft phase because there was so much adaptation required, throwing out the support bans early. And I honestly feel like G2 got exactly what they wanted out of this. It feels like it because they still get the shielding support, whether or not that was the plan beforehand. All the jungler bans fall through, but they still get something that is additive towards their team composition if it is almost never played.
Yeah, as a total unbiased European, however, I'm a little scared for the combination of Nunu Shen in the past that has shown a lot of tankiness, but too little forward pressure or damage, and the fact that LeBlanc can foul off a little bit. If it's like an Orianna that scales a little bit better as a double damage threat, or even a Syndra that has just more innate blow-up potential, LeBlanc is tricky to play in these kind of hyper carry comps.
Yeah, and I like this because we have such a difference between the team compositions, because WE's comp is actually not without scaling. Kassadin and Kled can scale pretty well, and the flank threat of those two is massive. So both teams have very clear strategies, double TP on both sides to try and match the split pushing in this game.
Well, everyone's out into the rift here for this game. Really interesting stuff to start it off already, and we're barely even into it. Sven and Minty, though, having a dance in the bottom lane.
I actually hate that skin,
personally.
Dislike it. Sven has doing it to tilt the opponent, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely mental warfare with that super noise skin. We need to watch this bottom lane, though, because this lane isn't as easy. Kog'Maw is very centered around the cadence of the W. If it's up, you win. If it's down, you get butchered. So you really need to step forward and backwards well in this laning phase. And Ashe can always poke you when you're on your way to trade as well.
Well, it looks like Trick. Very curious to see how Nunu's going to look at jungle route as well. Nice little ward from WE is actually going to see that buff. Condi and Ben also starting. Trick, maybe predictably, is on the blue buff.
Yeah, one unfortunate thing about playing Nunu jungle is he doesn't start very well on the Raptors, where a lot of other junglers can start. Graves does start well on the Raptors, but when you have a Malzahar, you want to take advantage of the Voidling pull. Condi killers that so fast, and since he did have the ward, he can actually do to Nunu what Nunu would like to do to opponents.
Yeah, but look at it, both teams seem to be ready for the reaction.
Now the vertical jungle most likely.
Because the ward's been placed already. I'm not sure if Trick actually saw that ward being placed, if he knew that his opponents have the knowledge of his starting location.
Damage already being down here, level 1, and Mystic's pretty low on health. Minty chugging potions for himself as well, but see if the aggression continues. Level 2 going to be on the way after these 3 melees, I believe, but here's Condi actually bottom side.
He's coming in for a cheeky gank here. G2 bot lane trying to respect it.
Uh-oh, damage is going to be pretty big here. Quick draw in, Sven instantly burns the heal out of respect.
Yeah, this is actually not the best planning here, because G2, what they were doing is they were draining health early to be in the race for level 2. They were still able to get past the level 2. The problem is, as I pointed out, we have vertical jungling going on. You cannot race for level 2 in this scenario, because Graves can always show up if they let you push.
Yeah, and the thing is now, with the Hawkshot flying up towards Trick, I don't think he has time to clear this red buff. You can see Condi skipping all the way towards him as they fight in the bot lane.
Mystic low as well, but they're going to turn it back in onto Mythy. Ben autoing out. And so again, more potions being chugged.
So much easier to kill these Voidlings right now, though. They're getting butchered patch and patch and patch.
Yes, Might, no, doesn't get it. Condi!
Oh, he smoked 2 health early right there. So close for Trick to get that steal, and now his counter jungling is for naught. That was so close by Condi.
Yeah, Nunu getting 3 buffed. That is not the early game result that you want now. However, he can adapt by picking up mostly Scuttle Crabs, just really quick along the way. Just get a modicum of experience and gold here, but definitely great start for Condi.
Well, expect getting pushed in the meantime here in top lane. catching up on CS pretty comfortably, but watch this one again. It was 2 health, you said.
Yeah.
2 health was right.
Yeah, that's just extremely close right there.
Yeah, especially because Condi did have red buff, so it was ticking down, and you're trying to time your smite with the auto attack because both junglers are going to be smiting on the same threshold right there, just insanely close.
And now pushing the bottom side. Maybe that aggressive trading has cost G2's duo a little here. Actually 10 CS down as Vets trying to catch up with this huge wave onto the turret, but just constant harass from the 2v2.
That's the story for the side lanes. Getting pushed in and trying to stay on even CS. Expect is doing it much better than the bottom lane. However, they had an early visit from many Graves, and that can really throw a spanner in the works. Luckily, Kog'Maw does not need even CS, because on level 6, that initial trade when you have picks on you, you get a couple W autos and an R off, that is poke to half HP on any champion.
So pushing into this mid lane now. So let's see what he can get done here. Teleports were expended early, so they'll have some early laning items. And Trick's actually down the bottom side, but he's going to get spotted. Good ward.
No buffs on him. They're pushed in pretty hard. They also don't have heal on Sven, so they gotta back up.
Condi's got red here as well. In fact, he's also got flash. He just might look to take one down. First blood is on the horizon. Condi flashes for it, and there it is.
And we were again at an international tournament where G2 have a plan, a late game idea of what they want to do, but things go horribly wrong in the early game, and they have shown in the past that they do not adapt well to losing these turrets early game at international tournaments.
He's got sums, he isn't going to have to use them. It takes a boatload of damage from the 3 members of Waterley, and that turret is low. That actually might die. Where's the wave? It's not quite there in time.
Mithy essentially just tanked for the turret right there. He was trying to distract Team WE so his turret wouldn't fall. He does hold it for now, and that prevents the absolute disaster, but it's still quite bad for G2.
It's just, again, like, Trick knows enemy jungle is coming. They're trying to hide under the turret, but Sven just completely out of resources. He got punished too often, had to use W on the creeps. Obviously, couldn't use it as a trading tool, and eventually it broke. And Trick, too late, escaping.
Yeah, would have needed to flash much earlier than that. That may have prevented Condi from going in for the flash if it wouldn't have secured the kill, but just doesn't quite gauge the Graves damage right.
The problem when your Nunu is under so much pressure is that he can't do any drive-bys in the mid lane. This matchup, the only matchup that is kind of seesawing in the other direction is Cassidy versus LeBlanc, but you need a jungle visit to tiptoe it just a little bit too much, you know, so it falls over the edge, and Trick hasn't had the chance to visit mid at all.
Yeah, and so much of that goes down to the missed smite on red buff. If that hasn't happened, Trick has the red buff, probably level 4. Condi wouldn't. Trick can maybe smack him out of that brush, no problem, but it was those little things that do have snowball effects, and it's all about now how G2 can recover.
Well, he certainly looked at Waterley here and said they will have to play a little uncharacteristic of themselves and get that aggression going. Condi, as always, has been the flag bearer for that early play here, but game's certainly not out of reach. Almost 1,000 got up for Waterley, which is nice, but certainly not over.
And World Elite right now, they have to be careful of this 4-man roam bot from G2 Esports. Team WE, of course, no longer the Forsaken name, because they're looking to get back amongst the elite in the world.
Yes.
But they're not there quite yet, so we call them Team WE. But yes, they're looking to combat that play from G2, because G2, they want to make a 4-man roam bot with the Shen, the Nunu. LeBlanc uses the push, and it's honestly just a 5-man party in the bot lane.
Yeah, that is the hope, and that's also what can hopefully for them keep Team WE at bay, but this very much looks like the type of WE composition we saw in Game 1 versus Flash Wolves, not the more passive everyone range composition we got to see against TSM. So WE trying to play these multiple different styles, and Condi on the forefront right now, again invading Nunu, sees the control ward.
Gonna get caught maybe a bit. The bottom line's still pushing so nicely that I don't know if Trick can do too much.
Yeah, the question is caught by what? Because they have push in that bottom lane, and he can just now contest this red buff with a lot of fearlessness. He has the support of his Malzahar most likely.
I don't know if Cassidy's going to get there quick enough as Sven is going to move himself out of the way. Turret goes down though, Mystic says to take it, and now Sven
Get all these up!
exhausted. Maybe a little too much, but Sanjay said Mystic cut into the enemy team. Condi not there in time. Sven gets a kill. The WE not done yet. Here's 957, but Condi already too low, goes down as well. And now 957's got a flash. Does get polymorphed over the wall, but now Perk's also looking for a pickup. He's actually going to meet Cassidy in here, so he'll back away, but G2, great collapse there.
And that fight was a mess overall because it is all about the red buff, but they end up getting kind of caught down bottom, and G2 was way quicker to the party.
And this is why, if you're playing Kog'Maw, put at least 1 point in E. So many Kog'Maw players try to min-max and avoid that ability at all costs, but it actually was the catalyst that snowballed G2 forward. When you want to play Kog'Maw lanes, you call an E trade first. You say you go on that E, the guy slows down, and then you go all in, and now we have the Shen ulti coming in. Trick was doing a great job. He even consumes for health on the top side of the play there. And then Jen, he doesn't panic flash. He flashes just as expected, lands, gets out, survives, but is continuously doing damage. Kobe was talking about it yesterday. Uptime in team fights, always contributing to the damage in the fights.
Yeah, and the angles that WE chose in that fight were very poor because they had the stronger members, so if they all focus, then they would have been able to win, but they did not. For them, though, they still have a tremendous amount of map pressure, already taking the bot turret, and they're so quick to move up top.
This is a really nice translation, actually, from Team WE, and they will be able to get this after stacking up a very big wave. So gold in their pockets, despite losing the last team fight. G2 having to recover means WE now up 2 turrets and 2,000 gold.
And Sven's arc to becoming a superhero is being set. I mean, he has yet to die in this tournament. His damage per minute is insane, and if they win, the only route is through him right now, and he has to pull them from behind. So not the ideal way to play, but he has been performing, and if there is a guy that you want to be able to pull you back, it would be Sven on Cogma.
Yeah, he might just evolve into OG Deals and single-handedly carry the game.
That guy was pretty good.
Good flash from Perks, misses the arrow there from Mystic, and a nice little angle, doesn't quite clip expect either.
Good enough. That's the only case where I can advocate flashing in the wall is okay. By Perks.
They're dropping a rope, pulls expect back in, but Chen doesn't look particularly bothered by this. Tiamat up for the Kled, and Chainvest Balmy Cinder, so almost up with the Sunfire Cape. 957 not taking over the game just yet.
I'm quite perplexed here by the very early QSS by Perks in the Cassidy matchup. I feel like he's so scared of LeBlanc in fights. So he's basically from
Malzahar.
from Malzahar in fights. Great, because he's LeBlanc. Because I think he might just want to be like a nuisance, going in and out, but being scared of being silenced and then CC.
Yeah, his threat is non-existent with the QSS. I mean,
Surprise!
people do like building QSS to avoid Malzahar, but I feel like Ben has bigger fish to fry against a team that
Bigger dogs
includes the Kog'Maw.
Puppy here, poor little puppy Sven.
And interestingly, like, Mystic is up in the top lane because they're trying to keep Sven away from farm, but that will let this Ocean Drake most likely go over.
Well, they'll take it if they can get it. Looks like WE not in the vicinity, so that will be over to Trick. That is one thing we haven't seen Nuno in a while, don't forget. Pretty good at taking down big monsters.
This is something WE do a lot though. Put their AD carry in a side lane, and then they lose the rest of the map. Teams need to capitalize on it though and punish it very hard. Mystic is getting so much free farm, but free farming on a side lane as AD carry, when you have Cassidy in mid, it generally uses the entire bot side of the map.
Just does want his farm and is a top performer for the team, so I can kind of see why, but adaptation's never really been WE's thing. They just kind of play their style and do play it well to their credit. Still up in goal, which is good, but no pressure really in that mid lane. Perks providing quite a lot of wave clear. First Drake went down, so there's nothing to do there for about 5 minutes or so. I mean, if G2 are looking for a lull in the game, it's actually a very good time for them to just farm up.
Yeah, exactly, because you look at the ward control, and Team WE actually doesn't have very strong ward control into the territory of G2, and that's kind of where they need it. WE has taken down both side lane turrets. Perks is sitting in the mid lane, so there's very few places for the Kog'Maw to farm. A 74 CS Cog at 12 minutes, not exactly the rate at which you would like to farm for Sven, who's one of the highest CS per minute players in the world. So at this point, WE need to continue to pressure those side lanes, get the wards, and then ult in with Kled and Caston to keep Sven down.
Mystic actually coming down as well. This is a nice little setup actually for WE, but G2, we'll see if they play the requisite amount of safety. Looks like WE aren't going to overcommit for it. Mystic not going to stay in fog of war for a potential arrow, but at least they've moved their AD carry towards this mid lane. G2 already know this. They've moved him there, Kog'Maw there for the safe farm, and WE kind of doing the right thing on the map for him.
Yeah, but Sven will always have to yield the push because he can't move up to challenge that wave, because if he does, he's very prone to Ashe arrows or flash Malzahar ultis, and he has yet to finish a QSS of his own. He's definitely going to lose the mid lane priority, which means then WE can move in left or right, put deep vision, go to the side lanes, eventually rotate towards the tier 2 turret, or set up like a dive in the mid lane.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for WE to set up a dive, because that's like the natural thing. Looking at the damage threats on G2, they are mostly non-existent. You got a QSS LeBlanc and a Kog'Maw who's level 7 without a blade right now. So if WE can get the pressure in the side lanes, and then 5-man dives Sven in the mid lane, that's how they break this game open.
Yeah, the alternative could be rotating for a side lane turret, but they're compensated so well around diving. They may just have to be careful for the Shen, though. That is one thing WE will have to be careful for.
It's actually side lane action they're going to go with here. Perks in trouble, 1v3. Does have his QSS, so we'll see if it saves
got
him.
the QSS.
He's Trick gonna help him out. Silence is down to Internet and in, and there's Trick, absolute zero, just to zone them out of the way. Everyone protects him, and Perks is okay.
Yeah, but they lose top lane. So this is 1-3-1 being executed by WE here, and so much pressure from 957. He's gonna start chunking that turret.
Yeah, that's a lot of overall pressure lost, especially because Mystic is single-handedly holding 2 people in that mid lane. So 957 able to get a lot of hits on them.
Yep, does back out though. It's like maybe spotted Mithy moving through the jungle, or just has an awareness that they've backed off. They're probably up here about now, kind of using some of that internal time. Oh, a free CS for Sven.
Almost. Sweep it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in range. Mithy doesn't have one. It's a disaster. So going to have to continue playing back here for a little while longer. And Mystic does have that completed play. The other issue kind of for Sven is that even if he has gold, he's not really got a chance to back.
And even in terms of pressure, it's actually quite good to just place a ward in somebody's vision sometimes. Mostly you want to hide wards, but when you're playing stuff like Ashe and Malzahar, you just want to remind them, hey, I see you at all times. You're gonna, even if you're peeking around a corner, it basically means that Sven now has to hide under the turret, which means WE can always push those waves faster and deeper in, and they can rotate for longer amounts of time.
Yeah, and we keep talking about all the things WE can do, but there's very little they are doing right now. It's 1.8 thousand gold after taking down both side lanes and having a double TP composition with Kled and Caston. Where's the charge from Kled? It's been 6 levels since he's had it, and they haven't pulled off any of these plays. WE can be known in the LPL as the team that turns on at 35 minutes and is the Elder Drake team, but if you do that with a 2,000 gold lead against this G2 composition, you're gonna lose. So Team WE has to make something happen.
Seems like they might be setting up for some side lane pressure, but again, despite all the good things they have in place, it's how they execute upon that that we'll have to look for. 140, Infernal Drake will be spawning, so that might be another place where WE can say, all right, let's just force a 5v5, because that is something they know as well. But if this game is in this pattern, G2, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, good subtlety here from Perks here, as the G2 bot lane is basing and basically leaving mid exposed. He moves to mid, clears the wave out, goes back, and they're just stalling over.
She at level 11, pretty strong right now with the Rod of Ages ticking up, but Ben gonna have to go back. Probably an item to buy, plus some wards to refill. Mobility boots actually there for the Malzahar, so maybe that will get it a bit more active. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen a single Malzahar all game, and when you've got a cog, freely farming a lane, feels like WE have the tools, but just aren't quite using them yet.
Yeah, and to be fair, even though G2 does have this protect the cog composition, the way they've done the rest of their draft is with 1-3-1 split pushers. So Shen, not easy for Kled to get the push on, and same with LeBlanc, especially one that has a QSS at this stage in the game. So that is one of their tools for trying to stall this out.
It's not as simple as just making one play. It's essentially picking a lock. They need to make the right moves 3 or 4 times in a row for that lock to open. It could be burning the teleports on the side lanes, burning the Shen ultimate, and then returning for another dive right there. But it's so meticulously slow, and G2, this is their style that they like. Open maps, side lanes, not too much hard engage, and just manipulating minion waves. It's what they've been training for the majority of the season in Europe as well.
And I really like how they've moved Sven to the mid lane. It's the most secure spot on the map. They can shrink it as much as possible. And as long as Expect keeps this push on 957, the Kled ult isn't going to be coming into dive.
And it's also one of the reasons we were talking in champs, like, you know, we see LeBlanc here scary, no Syndra, no Ori, because you think, why don't an Orianna shield to protect the Kog'Maw? Well, Orianna doesn't play well in side lanes. LeBlanc does it much better, and that is actually helping them right now.
Good arrow. Actually, Char's going to come in as well. Stand United is tricked. He's the first part of the ult. The absolute zero against Shadow. Pretty big amount of damage coming, but not quite enough spent. Well, on the backline, Blasco and Zay gets him out of the way, but Shie moving forward with the Riftwalk as Mithy is low. Expect actually traveling. No, it is Mithy. That Skull dismounts. Condi takes out Trick finally as WE get themselves a kill. And that's a play they're all waiting for.
Yeah, and G2 actually broke from their pattern. I don't know why they walked towards the Rift Herald, but as soon as they left the safety of that mid lane oasis, they were just completely collapsed on by WE.
Way too much solo queue. That was a new Herald on the patch. No, that's honestly the only plausible explanation you could muster, because they were just so fine scaling up. It's not even close to Baron spawn, so there's no reason to contest that vision 3 minutes ahead of time. I think they just felt too comfortable in this kind of status quo that W created, but major blunder here. And Sven could have easily died in that fight. Xie could have leapt over and found him across the wall, but he went for the team fight.
Incredibly perplexing, and Sven now not in his turret, opening up towards the Kled side of the map. Instantly 957 comes in with the Kled ultimate, and Ben finds the person he wanted to with his ultimate, so it doesn't matter if Perkz has the QSS. He was off of the bottom lane, teleports in really late, but everyone on G2 just tried to run as far as possible.
Yeah, right there, if GA takes it left, he finds Sven, takes him down. So the 0 deaths still up for Sven. That'll be much harder in the future because a bit more gold on WE and an Infernal.
Yep, Infernal's nice there. WE do pick it up during that replay. We're both now going to go over to GA as well. Things just kind of still building up for G2. Perkz still needs that first major damage out of him. Gunblade not done just yet with that early QSS. Blade Ninja Turbine is done for Sven, so that's a good look for him. But Perkz, a little caught, does have his QSS. Distorts back out of the way. Now looking for this turret here. Good 3-man by G2, trying to break up in the map a little more.
Yeah, they're losing the individual matchups, I think, right now, and that's why they're trying to just go for turret trades. Because if you put this Kassadin, look at the items. Negatron Merc that's Kassadin into a block lane, he's going to win that 1v1 super hard and eventually leave that lane and join the mid lane party. So G2 trying to change it up.
Oh, back to armor looking good there.
Hogma struggled.
Let's finally take it.
Here they come, teleport mid.
Aggressive TP, Condi actually on the turret, WE, sorry, he's going to look to take it down. Arrow actually going as well, charge up but not used. Arrow missed is probably the reason why, but it's a good collapse and they're still going.
Yeah, it's very difficult for G2 to stop them right now. They don't necessarily have the wave clear options.
Well, good amount of damage done, but second turret does hold for now. Rafael says bye-bye. And W2 again, back to the side lanes.
Yeah, W finally exploiting the weaknesses of this very one-dimensional G2 composition. It's all catered around Sven, but if they attack him early, hit his economy, scale him up slower, then obviously they're in control of the map.
And there's a big CS lead actually for Mystic that's opened up. I kind of started in the laning phase, but again, Sven being forced to play so safe and far back, even in the safe lane in mid. I mean, the Mystic's actually up almost 40 CS here in the matchup. 2 items done. Yep, Sven's still working on that second one, but the strength from W is just growing a little bit faster.
He needs 2 items and then he needs the QSS, and then he can really position more forward in fights. Mithi's also going for redemption, not Mikhail's, because obviously you get the double value. Mikhail's could be good against Ash Arrow, but if you already get the QSS for Malzahar ulti, Malzahar's never going to use it anyway, so you can save it for the arrow that way.
Yeah, I mean, we know the eventuality of the items that G2 want to get.
Yeah.
Mikhail's, Redemption, possibly Ardent Sensor, but that's a lot, and it's kind of all on Mithi. The Nunu build very much is the Frozen Heart because of the 3 physical damage auto attackers that WE has, so he's obviously going to go with that next. So a little bit later of a turn on for the supportive items.
Yeah, maybe Frozen Heart into a Negative Cloak or a little bit of MR right there, and then you just pivot, and I think you go for Knight's Vow.
Yeah, I think Knight's Vow very early on Trick or Expect even. I mean, we saw yesterday they're very willing to go 2 Knight's Vows. That's a very strong item in the game right now.
Yeah. No AP top laner, so no banner to kind of save your map that way. So obviously Kled is just going to tear through that one. So there'll likely be lockets galore this game.
But look at this, Team WE biding their time and pushing the tempo. They know that G2 still doesn't have a team fighting presence, so they're actually threatening Baron at 21 minutes into the game now, which I think is quite smart.
Well, that ward's annoying.
Gotta do it well though.
Yep, double pink ward's required, right, Crapper?
If you only have 2 wards, they're definitely not in the right location right there.
Definitely
you
not.
never should do it in the... You can do it in the pit if you have wards to spare, but a single sweep in the pit usually means that you're fine, but they're still launching.
Arrow led onto Sven, charge down as well. And there's the ulti on Sven, gonna get wild grip, but the damage is a little too much. 957, Flatter's going for the kill. Trick's gonna go there for the second, and now Perkz diving into the backline, trying to get an assassination, but GA gonna shut that all down. Perkz will get away, but WE get 2 crucial kills.
And that's actually really impressive, because very few teams pull the trigger from that distance. So Sven was waiting for somebody to get close and walk in front of him, but WE fire from so far away, and that is actually the Kled coming through in that pattern.
Yeah, everyone gets the move speed. G2's thinking about harassing this Baron, but that would be a big mistake.
Well, WE instead is going to get the Baron. Shia Rift walks forward to try and get him off. Scar going to tank it.
That's not the right adaptation. I think a really good point on the move speed right there, because that it just means that people close that gap so much faster. You feel safe in that distance. Every game you play versus Ash, arrow me, anytime. I'll be out before you're here. But then in 1 or 2 seconds, everybody's there.
Moving up to clear the ward, and Trick does take the charge from Kled, but it's not nearly enough. It's still rank 1 Wild Growth, a level 10 Kog'Maw. Heal expended, but not even close. Sven realizes he can't even be that close to this WE team.
One more needs to come in much earlier as well to just, get the Kled off. Sven's
oh, get denied!
Perkz. Buy time. Just buying time.
Yep. Chilling out. Flashes the emote, having some fun, distorts back in, and I think Shea is going to maybe try and chase him down. Good silence. Ben flashes over. Thunderlord's procs. He wanted the kill.
Ben don't mess around. He ain't got time for that. He has the Baron buff. He wants to push. It's like, stop these shenanigans. I want to macro.
Yeah, Perkz is doing his best to try and keep the minion wave out. Actually, when the Baron went down, Perkz used to teleport to get to that bot lane. Definitely, probably shouldn't have died right there. Clear the minions, get out of there, and try and defend his 5, because that's exactly all G2 has left. WE extended this lead, picked up an early 20-minute Baron, really trying to punish now.
Should be able to do a lot of damage here. No Lich Bane early for Shea, went Abyssal second instead, but Kled with the teammate plus the Black Cleaver will be on the sideline turrets, and of course Baron makes this almost trivial.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw can't actually kill these minions very quickly. Even with his W1, they have so much resistance to magic damage there that wave clear is really difficult for G2.
I mean, doesn't even have a Runas yet, so it's extra hard right now. Is Shea going to take down that tier 2 turret, make it 5 for WE. 957 working on the last one there in top lane. They have such a massive lead right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a big mental blow for the G2 Esports lineup. They felt so good after yesterday, progressing throughout the day, you know, great long game versus SKT. They felt good about the win, but we're seeing kind of the same thing we saw yesterday. Early game deficits that shouldn't really happen. Composition being punished, very much so. If WE can actually just push the dagger through right now, they can easily take this game.
Exactly, and how deep does the dagger have to go before G2 falls over? Because 8,000 gold, it's a pretty deep cut right now for G2. Sven does have his Hurricane, but it might not even be about that at this point, because the amount of damage they can push through, and Mystic even being at a full threat. He's a full Phantom Dancer ahead of Kog'Maw, so yeah, you throw the Lulu and the Blood Boil onto Sven, and that makes him as strong as Mystic. Then you got everyone else to worry about.
Everybody else is the problem, because in terms of shot calling and target selection, it doesn't take a genius to figure out who you got to hit on G2 Esports lineup. Because Perkz, he's a novelty. With this QSS Gunblade LeBlanc, he's not doing much, jumping in, doing some damage. G2 will need to be very precise in their engage. They don't have much time.
If you want to put a value on it, Mystic is about 2,500 gold ahead as Ren right now. So a completed item, as we can see in the inventory, looks like a catch on a GA. Maybe Cassidy really hard to pin down, but a good talk from Expect could make it happen. Riphook again, Absolute Zero going to get cancelled as there's Sven. He's going to move away, and GA still got shifts. Going to get himself out, almost gets over the wall. Flush snowball from Trick as the base is just getting destroyed. Why are you chasing a Cassidy? GA finally going to get taken down, but the spell trip's going to keep him alive even longer. Turret dead in top lane. It's just the base getting pushed in, and now GA just wants to cancel back. Top in hit goes down. G2. Oh, so desperate.
No.
There's the charge in. Sven again gets taken. There's the Mother Ult. He's absolutely dead to Condi. So much physical damage in the top half of the map, and it's just fallen to pieces for G2.
You got to be able to avoid that Ash Arrow even in that situation. They're chasing the Cassidy because they figured they'd lose the inhibitor anyway and are trying to get a kill. So WE make the most of it right there. Shea lasts all the entire game pretty much, and then Sven does end up falling anyway.
Yeah, but even though it makes sense, it just goes down in such a comedic way.
Oh my goodness.
That is just
Who
the
do we
problem.
chase? The guy with the 2-second cooldown dash.
Yeah, Rift Walks galore, and then
They got him though.
I wonder if this is gonna play part.
957.
Yeah, in the way you lose this though, in the way that play goes down, I wonder if like kind of the backlash and the memes that are gonna come down from this are actually gonna hurt G2 Esports.
Yeah, Sven flashing backwards from an Ash Arrow in a straight line. That's not the Sven you saw yesterday. Yes, the team is falling apart around him, but you have to be able to flash away from that Ash Arrow and not get hit.
Mystic now going to take red. Actually has a bolt strike the Raptors, and he'll start that camp as well. That's some power farming out of the Ash here. Still about 40 CS ahead. Now with a Hex Trigger just to make sure that Gunblade, Void Stuff, QSS LeBlanc can't do anything else.
Yeah, it makes total sense here. WE playing it right. They have the right item builds. Condi and 957 are mutually helping each other with these Black Cleavers. Shea survived the matchup, invested early in MR. Then with Rubber Ages, he went equal to Perkz, was super happy when he saw Perkz pick up the QSS. And then the sideline pressure that these matchups provided, they just snowballed WE forward.
Yeah, and a massive Baron power play there, 6,700 gold.
Mystic and Perkz doing battle. Mystic gonna live with the shield. There's a lockdown. QSS not gonna save him from the foiling. Arrow hits on the Trick as well. That's gonna be yet another pin down there as Water leads. Going to take down Trick through the wild growth, and now Shea. Rip walks in, just zoning the rest of G2 out. There's the charge in, almost killed Mithy in an instant, and then just straight onto Sven. Pulled back by 957, exhausted down, damage is there. Zen fights it up, but there's the
Condi wants it.
Condi. WE's expecto is the tankiest member left. Waterly gonna walk the game in, perhaps, that you can see lining up for the fountain.
They're gonna potentially kill the Nexus turrets first, but they have 20 more seconds to secure that Penta.
What matters more to WE, the Nexus or the Penta? Nexus open Condi, hoping X-Wing moves his way forward, but they'll take the game instead. WE take down G2.
And in what a way. Honestly, WE from the get-go, they see a one-dimensional composition. A game, I'm not going to say decided by an early red buff, but a very influential factor. But we can't blame that because every single step afterwards was taken well by WE.
Exactly. WE had to respond to the support bans in the draft. Benz Malzahar was completely fine. Condi, the star player of this team, took over the early game, securing the red buff away from Trick, moving bottom lane, getting control of that, moving top lane, getting control of that. And even though it took 28 minutes, that felt long. It was still only 28 minutes and they won by a lot.
Yeah, and if we look at kind of the pick and ban again, we're talking support bans versus jungle. That in itself, usually, you know, you would think that the jungle gets punished more. And then if you look at the type of players here, banning junglers against Trick, you get Condi, the star player almost for WE ahead, as opposed to punishing Ben.
I do want to re-emphasize just kind of the pacing here for WE. You almost thought, as that early and mid-game elongated, they were making a mistake. But when they needed to be decisive and they saw the opportunities, they took them very well, and then the pace just picked up from there.
Yeah, they were very good at reacting to G2 whenever G2 stepped out of line. Yeah. Because I actually feel like G2 had a very good thing going, camping Kog'Maw under the mid lane turret and playing the side lanes. But as soon as they moved for that Rift Herald, as soon as he was in the jungle, immediately W would kill him.
I definitely agree that was the one turning point in the mid game once the lead was already established here. But really great job from WE opening up these turrets early on the side lanes. We saw the reaction though